they tend to kick the straw right in behind the door.
Welcome to How to Grow a Garden. I'm Scarlett. Today I am over at Marcies with Learning Curve Acres, and we are doing a little tour of her coop. Marcies is an amazing chicken mom. She has over 30 chickens.
I have 29 chickens, including the one that lives in the house.
29 chickens, one very special little chicken, which we will take a look at later. I am holding Sheldon, and this
is Eliza Doolittle.
What a perfect name. All of Marcy's chickens have names, which is pretty cool. Marcy also has some guinea fowl, and she has quail.
Yes, I have 2 guinea fowl and I have 4 quail.
2 guinea fowl and 4 quail. So it's a pretty neat place to come visit. Now, Marcy is a dear friend of mine. Like I said, she has a channel on YouTube, and I highly recommend you guys all go check it out. She's been putting up just a little bit here and there over the last few months, maybe the last few years. But
it'll be 2 years this spring.
She has promised to get into it. She's going to start sharing her journey with us a little more regularly, and we're very much looking forward to it. So if you guys are interested in caring for chickens, having chickens and all that good stuff, definitely check out Marcy's channel. She's got a lot of good stuff, and a lot of good stuff will be coming. And I think that I'm going to make this a regular where we come over and check out Marcy's coop and talk to her about all kinds of fun things, because she is so knowledgeable. So we're going to check on Freya today, the little chick who was born very late in the season and has serious frostbite on her feet. And if you want to know more about Freya, you can definitely go to Marcy's channel, where she talks about Freya's recovery over the past few weeks. We're also going to talk to Marcy about how to ferment her chicken food, and she's going to give us a little tour of her coop.
For the males, the tail feathers come in very late, whereas for the girls, they come in early. Let's hope you're going to be a girl, because I really can't have any more roosters. Once the initial spring crazy is done, they'll kind of take over their own quadrant of the yard and kind of stick to there. Spring's the craziest time and the hardest time for them. But other than that, I usually don't have issues with my boys. Yes, and we have, they free range, so they're everywhere. They're eating all the blackberries before I can get at them. They're eating everything. So Snow White is baby's big sister. She hatched out in...
Snow White, and this one's baby?
Yes. Snow White, this one, hatched out in July, and this one hatched beginning of September. So for mites, what I will do is I will take a dish with olive oil, organic if at all possible. So olive oil and about 10 drops of tea tree oil. And then my husband and I come out here after they've all gone to sleep, and we set up a little assembly line where we take one, soak their feet, give them a little bit of a brush down with an old baby toothbrush, and then put them back. And we try and go through the entire flock, and we'll do that every night for a week, and then 3 times a week so we do every night for a week for 2 weeks, 3 times a week for 2 weeks, and then twice a week for 2 weeks, and then once a week until everything's completely cleared. And then we do it once a month as a treatment. We also use diatomaceous earth. We put that in. I will actually put a little sprinkle on their backs as they're sleeping. That's the easiest way, because then it kind of, as they're moving the next day and moving around at night, it kind of moves around into their feathers and gets right down to the skin. So the olive oil, so first of all, it's treating the skin, it's softening the skin, but it's also because it completely coats the mites, it suffocates them.
Right.
They can't breathe, they can't reproduce, nothing.
So what is your channel? Tell us about your channel.
My channel is called Learning Curve Acres. We're just inviting people to join us as we learn about trying to be self-sufficient, trying to have a homestead, trying to grow a garden, and all the crazy that kind of comes with it. And you know, I try to help explain things. I'm trying to show people as I make mistakes, show what's going on, where, you know, where I failed, where I succeeded, so that other homesteaders can go, okay, I'm not alone. I made the same mistake too. Okay, it's natural to make this. It's natural to think this. It's, you know, and just give them some give others encouragement as well.
You're joining into the community.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
One big happy family of homesteaders all across all around the world.
And all on YouTube.
Through YouTube. Yes.
So cool. So we're visiting little Freya today. She had quite the complicated start to her little life. And we just wanted to come over and say hi. See how she's doing. We've been following her story on YouTube. Right, little one? It's about time we come check you out. Look at her little booties. Cute. Okay. When you raise a chicken on paper, you end up with, what is that called?
Curled toes.
Curled toes.
Where they, yeah, almost like club foot for children.
Right.
With people. And one of the things you do to correct it is you make these booties using the medical tape, the
Like
veterinary tape.
Pipe cleaners?
No, it's a tape that.
I mean, do you put pipe cleaners on
No.
the feet first and then?
No, what you do is you take your vet wrap, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
You take that, lay it out, put their foot down with their toes spread out the way they're supposed to be.
Okay, so they stick right onto the wrap.
And then you fold it over.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't actually stick to their skin, so it will never pull
Right.
on tender skin, but it sticks very well to itself, providing you have it going the right way.
That makes sense.
Yes. Because it's stretchy. You'll see it a lot on any veterinary TV shows that are so popular now. And you give it just that little bit of stretch and it self-adheses.
They use this on horses' feet, right?
Lots of the time for horse bandages,
Okay, yeah.
for dogs, cats that have
And
had
that's what she's
issues.
got on her feet.
And that's what I used. You can buy it at TSC, at most co-ops. I get it at Home Hardware.
Nice.
Here in,
Okay.
just up in town. And
then by spreading their feet out and wrapping them like that, they will, how long do you leave it wrapped for them to repair?
I leave it for about a week. And usually by then, it's just fine. I had one of the Guinea Keats had the curled toes. And that's what we did to treat him.
One of my silkies that I got at the auction, right, in
Yes.
fall, she also has the twisted foots, the curled toes, but she's full grown.
By this age, probably not going to do much for her.
Right.
You can always try, but usually you want to get it as soon as possible.
Right. And that's because she was raised on newspaper, so a slippery
Yes.
surface and her toes keep curling under?
Yes.
Okay, so don't raise your chickens on a slippery surface.
It can also cause what they call spraddle leg. It's where the legs are going out in totally opposite directions. And so you'll use the exact same vet wrap, position them properly, and then just wrap it around the two legs. Some people will put the cotton makeup pads in between just to give a bit of a buffer to kind of help hold them separate.
Okay. So you're tying the legs together so they're kind of straight.
Yeah,
Essentially,
what-
right?
Yeah, so
can
you've got the
still move
two,
it,
you've got the legs, and so you're stretching it this way around
Around both legs.
and then you want to kind of pinch it in the center so that it'll adhere to itself in the center, so that they're not being pulled like this, because that's
Right.
unnatural for them too.
Right, so they can just walk without doing
Yes,
the whole spraddle leg going all the way.
exactly.
Yeah, there's so many different things that can go wrong, honestly, with
Yes.
having chickens. And we're just talking about feet and the basics, like if you keep them on newspaper.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think keeping them on newspaper would be totally okay, but
Yes, it's easier for
Actually-
cleaning,
for sure.
but what I do for my chicks is I just use old towels. we have the wonderful resource of the reuse center up here at our local dump. I'll go in there, I'll pick up a bunch of old sheets that are flannel or old towels. I don't care if they're threadbare. That's perfect because that means when we're completely done with them, the last time we use it, by that point it can't be washed anymore anyways because it's falling apart every time you wash it. But I make little pieces that are the same size as the Brooder, put it in, and you're done.
That's a fantastic idea.
Pull it out.
Totally reusable.
Yeah, then and when you're changing it, you take it outside, you hose it off before throwing it in the wash.
Right, yeah.
A little bit of vinegar kills everything that's on it naturally without having to get into bleach. Because especially if you have a septic tank, the bleach will destroy your septic tank. If you have a cement septic tank, it will eat the cement. If you have the metal ones, well, most municipalities here in Ontario are demanding that you get the new ones because they tend to collapse. The metal ones will collapse and then cause a biohazard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and while you're at it, don't
destroys
plant your garden directly above that.
No.
That biohazard, you don't want that's a controversial topic, but my personal opinion, you can plant
near your weeping tile, but not on your weeping
top,
tile.
Right?
Oh, plus it's going to go down through and destroy. If you plant it over your weeping tile, it will destroy your weeping tile. The roots will go through and they will clog your weeping tiles, all the drainage that you have there.
Right.
It'll just destroy it. But planting around it is fine. If you want something that doesn't have deep roots but will very definitely benefit from being over the weeping tile, providing that it's not too sunny there, your vinca or your periwinkle will grow quite beautifully. Just keep it trimmed because otherwise it is very invasive.
You are a wealth of information.
I try.
You know everything about everything. It's awesome. I love hanging out with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's dinner time.
It is dinner. In fact, it's past dinner time. So
and
the chickens are going to be.
It's chicken dinner.
The chickens will be cranky.
So we're going to go file.
Oh yes, we're 15 minutes late, so they will be getting cranky.
Oh my goodness, my chickens are so not.
We will hear them.
They're like they get fed when I show up in the morning. I sprinkle it around and fill their feed, and they can feed themselves. You, on the other hand, have an entirely different way of feeding. So we're going to go down into the kitchen.
Yes.
And we're going to find out all about it.
It's a little too moist, so I just put in 1 cup of dry layer mash, which I keep in a mouse-proof container, which I need to get a few more of because the dog also likes a lot of the feeds, like rabbit food. If your dog gets into rabbit food, it will throw up profusely and it will poop everywhere. No, it's kind of like us doing something like Greens Plus.
Right.
Maximum strength right from day one. It's a real cleanse, but it's not fun. Now, I have to admit, I'm kind of spoiled having an entire counter space just for my pets. So
yeah, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This is half my kitchen.
I know.
But
I know. And this isn't even whole. We won't even
your whole kitchen is twice
we won't even discuss
house, so.
how big this kitchen is. It is. It is insane.
It is.
But it is amazing.
It's a really good space, definitely. Okay, so you've got.
What I do is I ferment the chicken food. So I take the layer mash, I put it into the crocks with just water. I let them soak for 3 days. That's why I have 3 crocks on rotation. I will throw in whatever garlic nubs, the bottoms of the garlic, in because it is so good for the chickens and for their health. So I'm draining it. I use a clip to hold it so that it doesn't fall in on itself. And we just drain most of the water off.
Could you just give it to chickens without draining it?
Yes, but at this time of year, it freezes solid. It gets really, really cold here. And then it will turn to summer almost overnight.
We had minus 36 with wind chill a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I think that's where all the frostbite came from.
Yes, I would believe it. You can give them all the straw and molasses and corn and everything else. It's not going to keep everything from getting processed.
Molasses.
So I put about between a teaspoon and a tablespoon.
And this is because there's iron in there?
For the extra iron and a little bit of extra sugar, it helps keep their blood. It helps make the food stick to your ribs, kind of idea.
Okay.
You know, it takes a little longer to digest. A little, their metabolisms have to work harder to break it down, so it builds up their internal body temperature. And especially when we're having these ridiculous cold weather. When we have the warm weather days, I don't bother. Generally, if it's -5 or higher, I don't put in the molasses. Now I just give it a good stir. It's not the most appealing thing.
And that was about a tablespoon or a teaspoon?
Between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. So,
okay. So like 2 teaspoons.
Yeah, just a little over a half tablespoon. Yeah. So
there's definitely an aroma about it.
As with all fermented foods.
So this is their daily feed for the whole day? They don't get breakfast?
This is their dinner.
Okay.
They get breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. Wow. 7:30, 7:45. And so what I do is I take their daily feed, I divide it in half in the morning, half at night. Sometimes they'll get some treats, like sometimes it's some cabbage, sometimes it's a bit of broccoli, because some of the little ones won't come out when it's really cold like this. Those ones I'll put a platter in the coop and they'll eat in there, but that comes out at night. They have water in the coop on a cookie tin with a 60 watt. For this really cold weather, we have a 60 watt light bulb in there, and that keeps the water liquid this time of year.
That is the guinea fowl. If you're thinking about getting birds, don't get a guinea fowl. If you live in the city, you have lots of neighbors who aren't so thrilled about the idea of having birds.
Yes.
As you can tell, they're really, really noisy. And in fact, this little trip over to Marcies and visiting her guinea fowl has made me rethink possibly getting one, because it was on my list of options for this year.
Though you're in the middle of nowhere,
yeah, but I'm there.
You don't have neighbors.
I would have to hear it all day long. I'm not sure I want to hear it. The other one is fine. This is the male or female?
This is the male right here behind you. That's George. Now, he usually only makes that sound if he perceives a threat of some sort.
Okay. And guinea fowl, do they lay eggs? Do they eat their eggs?
They do lay eggs. They're about the same size as a Banty chicken egg, and about the same color, that slight off-white, small triangular shape.
Yeah, super tiny.
And yeah, a lot of people like them for the eggs. They're not the greatest parent. That's why it's really good to get a broody chicken, a broody hen. That's why it's really good to get a broody chicken to take over the brooding and parenting of the guinea fowl. Also, it helps to bond them to your chicken flock so that they will want to stay close by. Otherwise, they're well known for just taking a long walk through the field and never coming back. They walk till and graze and peck until it's getting dark, and then they look for the closest tree. So that looks like a good perch. I'm going there for tonight. And they keep moving on the next day. The really good thing, chickens will eat ticks, but your guinea fowl are voracious tick eaters. And if you have deer coming up onto your property, we're both suckers. We both feed our deer.
We do. The deer are covered in tick, of course. Yes.
This will help keep the ticks down in the warmer weather, because the ticks don't become active until the temperatures are over 4 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, they're great, but they do make a lot of noise.
Marcy, it has been a wonderful tour. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming. It's been such a blast.
We'll definitely come back.
Good.
Thanks for watching. I'm Scarlett, and this was Marcy, and we will see you in our next episode.
Bye. Toodaloo.